this week in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, let's chew all over this Sentebale situation. Now, before I jump into my thoughts about the Sentebale situation, I just want to express my sadness at the outcome of what's happened with this very predatory and premeditated hostile takeover of the charity. I don't believe this was an accident. I think the impact of this conduct has been damaging, not just to the children who were recipients of the good works that Sentebale was doing, but also the founding members, Prince Seeso and Prince Harry. Prince Harry actually put £1 million worth of money from spare into Sentebale, which Miss Chanduka is in the process of eating. Metaphorically speaking, of course, in my opinion. He was playing polo matches. I mean, he actually sweated tears, blood, and possibly injury so that the charity could move in the direction it's moved in. So now that I've done my lament, I just want to jump straight into my thoughts. So Sophie Chanduka and her premeditated hostile takeover of Sentebale, with the Charity Commission, in my opinion, limiting the scope of its remit to ensure she stayed on as chair as opposed to having her removed if they had moved for what was called a statutory enforcement measure, is the reason why I think this was a stitch up. First of all, the Charity Commission found that there was no evidence with the trustee board or with Harry of wrongdoing in the form of misogyny, and bullying and harassment. These were the allegations that Miss Chanduka levelled at every opportunity she had. She was doing the media tour, being used, in my opinion, which is even more shameful as another black woman to another black woman, being used so that she could spread poisonous allegations about the prince on a mainstream platform, damaging not only his reputation or attempting to damage his reputation, but also to damage the reputation of Sentebale, a charity with 19 years of investment from Prince Harry and Prince Seeso. It's my understanding that when the difficulties arose, Prince Harry was trying to mediate and his lawyers were trying to create an opportunity for some sort of space for her to resign because all the trustees had lost faith in her. Let's not forget what the foundation of that was. It was financial mismanagement, which Miss Chanduka has a history of. And before that could conclude, she ran to the Charity Commission. The Charity Commission that's based in the UK, which is part of the establishment, whether you like it or not. And which, I think it was in 2021, cleared King Charles's trust at the time of any wrongdoing in the Cash for Honours scandal. I'll get back to that in a bit. And as a consequence of that, there was an investigation. The Charity Commission opened what's called a regulatory compliance case. And this was in direct response to the issues raised by Miss Chanduka, not by the trustee board or by the patrons. And that's very important because the basis of her allegations have been disproven. No evidence exists. Therefore, her position, I agree, is untenable, is it not? The Charity Commission cited weak internal governance and ensured that an action plan, or their recommendation was an action plan, be implemented. And while the Commission didn't find wrongdoing, they flagged important governance issues that now require attention, hence the action plan I just spoke about. They include improving internal dispute resolution processes, clarifying trustee responsibilities and boundaries, and strengthening governance structures. However, the Charity Commission fell short of having what's called a statutory enforcement invoked. Instead, they have something called regulatory scrutiny, where the Commission is actively monitoring Sentebale. And trustees report back on progress, leaving the onus on the same individuals who were everybody resigned from in charge and in place. Do you think that was coincidence? I don't, darlings. No, I don't. Absolutely not. And if problems persist, stronger action to follow. So basically is move along. We've adjudicated on partial bits of it, but not the full amount. Why didn't they go for a statutory enforcement? Let's not forget, Prince Harry had no opportunity to give evidence to the investigation. What about the rest of the trustees? Were they also not involved in it? Because that would be interesting, given that they all resigned as a consequence of questions they had in relation to Miss Chanduka's conduct. If a statutory enforcement measure had been invoked, then other opportunities could have been levelled to actually get the charity away from those individuals who were seen by the trustees and the patron as to be dragging it into the mud and looting the pennies and looting all of the money out of it, which is clearly what's taking place if you had 2 ounces of sense. Statutory enforcement is used in the following circumstances: when there is misconduct or mismanagement. Well, if you didn't investigate it, you're not going to have a look. Where there's serious risk to the charity's assets and beneficiaries. Well, that's, as far as I'm concerned, it meets that criteria, because apparently quite a lot of the funds have been paid in consultants, and the beneficiaries, the children, no longer are receiving the benefit. Statutory enforcements are also used to refuse when trustees refuse to cooperate, which is what happened, or follow non-statutory advice. Well, all of those conditions were met, Charity Commission. How come you didn't go for statutory enforcement? Instead, you went for regulatory compliance. And the reason I'm saying that is because if they'd gone for the stronger arm or the stronger tool in the toolkit, I don't think Miss Chanduka could still have remained in post. Under a statutory enforcement, you can remove trustees and senior staff, you can freeze and restrict charity bank accounts, you can appoint an interim manager, and you can issue official directions or orders. How come none of that was taken up? You can also compel cooperation, and you can also refer to the police and other regulatory bodies. So I'll leave that with you in terms of what you actually thought and how this whole thing was working. Let's not forget they've only got 2 trustees left on the board. It's not even quorum when they have a meeting. And then to boot, in order to defend her position, Miss Chanduka invokes the memories of Prince Harry's mother and Prince Siso's mother. She has that on her lips in her defense. Can't you see the energy of this woman has been corrupted and captured by individuals who mean no good to the Sussexes? Exactly. Don't worry, things have a way of working themselves out, my dear. As my mum says, when you're digging 2 holes, when you're digging a hole for people, yeah, you need to dig 2. One for yourself and one for the person that you're hoping will fall in it. So that's my 2 pence on that, darlings. It was a very long one, and it was quite a serious one because it was a quite serious matter.